Hello, this is Jack and the incredibly mean stalk. Are you having a look? Once there was a boy called Jack. He lived with his mum in a tiny flat and he believed in magic. One day, Jack sold their television in return for some magic beans. Jack's mum was so angry that she tossed the beans out of the window. Before long, something below began to rumble.
What rumble?
What is that? Said Mum. An earthquake, said Jack. Jack and his mum ran outside just as a little green shoot burst from the earth. The little shoot became a thin stem, and the thin stem became a chunky stalk. A crowd began to gather nearby. Fee, said the stalk. Fie, it cried, growling taller still. Fo, fum, it yelled so everyone could hear. I smell a boy and his stinky mum. Jack's mum immediately scuttled home to take a bath. That was a bit unkind, said Jack to the beanstalk. Well, it replied, I'm not any old beanstalk. I'm an incredibly mean stalk, and I plan to live up to my name. Do you know what else I can smell? What? Asked Jack. Your whiffy feet. The crowd laughed and Jack blushed. Luckily for me, said the mean stalk, I'll be growing higher and higher, far away from your festering toes. He's not very kind at all, is he? Jack felt miserable. He sat with his mum, looking at the space where the TV used to be. Pardon? No, don't open it inside, please. Charlotte? No, thank you. He was disappointed that his magic beans had created such a monster. Meanwhile, the mean stalk grew up and up and up. Oh, Jack, it teased. It's beautiful up here. Listening to the story? What a shame that I'm the only one tall enough to see it. Look at the beanstalk. You could let me climb up, said Jack. Never, replied the beanstalk, and it carried on growing. Oh, this beanstalk is very mean, isn't he? One day the stalk spotted a giant's castle nestling in the clouds. Fee, fi, fo, fum, roared the beanstalk. I detect parps from a giant's bum. The castle's drawbridge creaked and lowered, and a giant appeared. Please don't be mean, he said bashfully. It's ever so lonely up here, and I'm entirely friendless. Might you be my friend? Never, replied the mean stalk, and it carried on growing. This mean stalk, hey, Charlotte. Wait, said the giant. Do you know anyone who might be willing to be my friend? I know a pongy boy called Jack, said the stalk.
What's this?
Oh. Silly string. Sorry about that.
What's this?
You two are probably smelly enough for one another. In a little while, okay? Would you kindly allow me to climb down and meet him? Asked the giant. Never, replied the mean stalk. No, it's not a drink, sweetheart. It's party, okay? For later.
That's my party.
Yeah. But the giant wasn't ready to give up. He wrote letters to Jack and sent small presents floating down through the sky. Charlotte? But the giant wasn't ready to give up. He wrote letters to Jack and sent small presents, floating them down through the sky. Jack read the giant's letters and received his thoughtful gifts. Once Mummy's finished the story, Mummy will help you, okay? There you go. Good girl. He wanted to thank him. Please, please, can I climb up to meet the giant? Jack begged. Never, said the beanstalk. Just look at how tall I am. I'm taller than a tower of giraffes, and I'm taller than a whole rainforest. I'm taller than a stack of skyscrapers, and I'm the tallest thing on the planet.
All done.
Is it all done?
Yeah.
Well done. Good girl. Soon the beanstalk grew so tall that it soared through the Earth's atmosphere and burst into space.
I sent them up this way.
One moment. We will finish this story, hey? The beanstalk floated around, drifting between the stars and planets. After a few days of floating and drifting, the stalk realized how quiet it was. Suddenly, he felt very, very alone. What am I doing up here? He thought sadly. The beanstalk wound its body down and down and down and round back to earth. It saw how happy everyone was. They haven't missed me at all, thought the beanstalk. I'm useless. Being mean is useless. The beanstalk nudged its head through Jack's window. Jack, it said tearfully, I want to stop being mean, but I don't know how. I have a few ideas, said Jack. Look, they got to meet each other. Nice to meet you, Jack. You must be the giant. Whee! Oh, look, he's made himself into a slide. And he's helping to put out the fires. He's so helpful. Oh, he's drying their pants on the line. Oh, and look, he's showing them the moon. Thank you, beanstalk. Wait a minute, said Jack. We can't call you beanstalk anymore. You're kind and helpful and extremely useful. What shall we call you instead? Said the not mean at all stalk, thinking carefully. I quite like the name Stanley. Very well, said Jack. Thank you, Stanley. So Jack and the giant, Stanley, and everyone else lived together happily, and Stanley never called anyone stinky again. The end.